The African jungle, particularly the vast Selinda Reserve in Botswana, is ruled by a single, harsh law: instinct. A law that dictates the predator and the prey, life and death. For a lioness like Zola, a baboon is merely a meal. That is the unyielding nature of the wild. Or are we mistaken? What you are about to witness, captured deep within the Selinda Reserve, shatters every expectation, every natural rule we thought we knew. This is no ordinary hunting scene. This is a story about a moment, a choice, and a powerful maternal instinct that transcended species boundaries, overcame survival hostility, and surpassed even the definition of love. The cameras of two photographers, Alex Thompson and Sarah Jenkins, captured a moment that seemed like the end of a hunt, but became the beginning of something extraordinary. After a lightning-fast ambush, the lioness Zola stood over the fallen body of the baboon mother, Anya. She prepared to claim her spoils, but then a tiny, trembling creature emerged, the baboon infant Keto. In that instant, Zola's predatory instinct was temporarily subdued by an older, more profound force. The hunter's gaze suddenly softened, replaced by a spark of recognition, of universal compassion. This story is not just a miracle in nature. It is a lesson about the capacity for compassion hidden deep within every creature, including ourselves. Join me as we explore this deeply moving narrative. The air was still thick with dust and the aftermath of the chase. The lioness Zola, powerful and focused, had completed her hunt. Anya, the baboon mother, was exhausted, and her life had ended. Yet, as Zola paused, preparing to enjoy her spoils, a tiny movement captured her complete attention. The infant baboon, Keto, trembling and utterly defenseless, crawled out from beneath his mother's body. The small creature did not understand what was happening. He only sought the familiar warmth of Anya. Keto's absolute innocence stood in stark contrast to the brutality that had just occurred. That very moment was captured by Alex Thompson and Sarah Jenkins. They held their breath, expecting a tragic conclusion. But the script did not unfold that way. Zola did not attack. She did not bare her fangs. Instead, she looked, and in that intense stare, something fundamental shifted. Zola's cold, sharp hunting eyes became soft, inexplicably gentle. The instinct to kill seemed to dissolve, replaced by a deep spark, a maternal instinct. Sarah Jenkins later recounted, "We were waiting for the next pounce, but then she just gently nudged Keto with her snout, as if trying to wake him. That moment truly shook our belief about the wild world." Zola, having just inflicted terrible pain, now chose to break the chain of violence. She chose an action that was completely contrary to her lioness nature. This offers us a profound lesson. In life, we often face moments where past hurts or old habits push us to keep fighting, to hold on to bitterness. Zola, with just that one meaningful moment of hesitation, demonstrated the extraordinary power of choosing a new beginning immediately after an end. We can choose to stop attacking, and instead prioritize protection and compassion, even when the object is inherently an enemy or something that does not belong to us. Zola's hesitation was not a weakness, but the start of silent revolution. Over the next few hours, the wild world witnessed an unprecedented drama. The lioness Zola, the apex predator, had now become a reluctant guardian. She gently carried the infant Keto, nudged him affectionately with her snout, and Keto clung tightly to Zola's thick, warm mane. It was an impossibly tender sight, destructive power utterly transformed into protection. However, the real test for Zola's transformation came from the cruel logic of her own kind, the appearance of the male lion. The male saw Keto and perceived only one thing: prey. He followed the rule that Zola had violated. This was the most intense moment. Zola had to face judgment from her own pride. She had to protect the life she had just saved from her own instinct, from the very definition of the wild world. And she did. She bristled, growled, and placed her massive body between Keto and the male lion. This act was not just protecting Keto, it was protecting her choice. It is a powerful metaphor for our own lives. When we dare to step outside the rigid roles, the prejudices society assigns to others, the labels of prey or enemy, we often have to protect that newfound compassion against the skepticism and coldness of those around us. Zola taught us that true strength does not lie in domination, but in the courage of kindness. She took a risk to uphold a law higher than the law of the jungle, the law of unconditional protection. Amidst the harsh African sun, these two creatures forged a new worldview, where an enemy could become a protector and love required no logic to exist. Zola proved that even the deepest instinct can be moderated by a pure emotion. As time passed, the solution to this unusual relationship hung in the air, generating anxiety. The infant baboon Keto could not survive forever in this oasis of compassion. The baboon tribe watched from a distance, their hearts filled with extreme fear and a tiny hope. For Keto to survive and grow up, the marvelous protection under Zola's coat had to end. We realized that no matter how strong love is, it must respect the need for community. And then, he appeared, shattering the tense silence. It was the male baboon Jabari, the father, the representative of the tribe's ultimate courage, who began cautiously moving out of the thicket, advancing toward the enemy. This was an act of utmost risk, for Jabari faced not only the danger of death under Zola's claws, but also the risk of her inexplicable choice. Could that gentleness be a trap? Jabari's courage did not come from overwhelming physical strength, but from a father's love and desperation. He walked slowly, each step a challenge to the predatory law. Both Alex Thompson and Sarah Jenkins held their breath, knowing that one wrong move from either side would lead to tragedy. The tension peaked. Miraculously, the lioness Zola, as if reading the boundless love in Jabari's eyes, lowered herself. There was no battle, no menacing growl, only a moment of silent understanding, where Zola's protective instinct for Keto met Jabari's protective instinct. In a flash, Jabari seized the golden opportunity, grabbed Keto, and darted away. Zola stood still, choosing once again not to attack, not to chase. She silently watched the two figures race toward the safety of the troop. It was a victory mixed with bittersweetness. Zola was now alone again, the brief period of compassion over, but she had fulfilled her role. This action, from Jabari and Zola's acceptance, teaches us about courageous cooperation and the importance of community. While Zola could offer shelter, only family and the tribe could provide a lasting home and sustainable existence for Keto. This story reminds us that the greatest courage is sometimes facing fear to rescue those we love and accepting to let go so they can return to where they truly belong. When we look at Zola in Selinda, we are looking into a mirror. We all have the Zola instinct within us, the urge to survive, to protect our territory. But we also possess the capacity for a sudden, powerful turning point, the ability to choose compassion over conflict, the ability to see past the labels we assign to others, turning them into prey or not our kind, only to see the universal vulnerability of a Keto in need of help. This story offers a gentle solution to the rigid conflicts in our lives. Find your pivot point. When you face a situation that demands a harsh, instinctual, or bitter reaction, remember Zola. Stop. Take a deep breath. Allow the motherly/protective instinct, the deep desire to shelter the vulnerable, to take over and override the predatory instinct, the urge to dominate or dismiss. That simple moment of hesitation is where the magic begins. That is how we turn our personal wilderness into a safe haven. Zola did not change the law of the jungle in a day, but she changed her own heart. She chose love instead of killing. She chose protection instead of possession. If a creature governed by pure instinct can choose love, then so can we. Today, what prejudices are you ready to look beyond? Which Keto in your life or community needs you to choose kindness over instinct? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story has touched your heart, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more light-spreading stories, and join our community of compassionate hearts. See you next time. Be brave enough to be kind.